Hi, this is Michael Wojcik with a City Council update for, we'll say, late November 2013. Going to cover the last City Council meeting and then a little bit on the budgeting process. Didn't put one up after the last City Council meeting because wasn't a whole lot exciting happened. I think one of the big things that did happen was that we did we did award the audit firm. We did overrule staff and provide it to the local vendor, which they've done a great job for us for a long time. But I always have a problem with politicians over policy, and it was a 5-2 vote. Myself and Bilderback were opposed to the change. Ultimately, the mayor and the council president raised some good questions. No doubt about it, they were good questions. So we tabled it at the previous meeting and decided that we would not necessarily award an audit. Background is we had a competitive bid process, and the winner of the competitive bid process with a much lower price was a firm out of the Twin Cities. Um, there were some questions raised as to whether or not they could deliver on their services. So, there were questions about whether or not they'd be able to come into Rochester and do a good job. We tabled it. I actually took the time. I contacted the city of Bloomington, talked with some staff up there, and found that overwhelmingly they've lived. They don't upcharge on different on small things. They don't do ticky tacky items like that. Outstanding quality. They've done a very good job for the city, and they came highly recommended by the city of Bloomington, which is very similar to Rochester in the fact that while we have DMC, which has some special financial considerations. The city of Bloomington has the Mall of America, which has some similar financial considerations. So it was kind of an interesting, to learn about the reputation of this company, and it did very well. Um, Part and parcel to this, all of the questions that were raised by the mayor and the council president, staff went back, and reviewed the recommendation, and having realized what these concerns were, and staff deciding that they were not anything that was going to be a problem for the city of Rochester. Staff continued to recommend this firm out of the Twin Cities. Now, staff are they're the people that are qualified to make these kinds of decisions. They're experienced in finance and audit, and they were saying that we should go with this firm out of the Twin Cities. We, as politicians, then overruled the staff recommendation and just went with the local firm. Now, in the short run, that's great. It's keeping it local business here. But the problem is this: is would you want to be part of a competitive bid process that even if you won, even if you offered the best services for the best price to the city of Rochester, it didn't matter because the elected officials were just going to ignore the fact that you won and award it to a second party anyway. And this can create a problem that when we do these competitive bid processes in the future, we're not going to have people that are willing to bid on, doing business in the city of Rochester. So that's a huge concern. I wasn't going to say too much, but Bilderback was right on it too. So I kind of said my piece as well, and I just think that I don't necessarily think that this was, a crony tactic, but the city of Rochester has a terrible, terrible reputation as being a good old boys town, and people are afraid to come here and do business. And I think that whether it's fair or not, and in this case, I don't think this was the deciding factor, but people aren't going to want to come here and do business when we act like this. So I think it's very disappointing. But on to some good news. Part of the reason I'm doing an update right now is we're about to head into the budget review session. Those of you that have seen your property tax statements know that yet again we will be with the property. Pretty much everyone that owns property in the city of Rochester, whether it be a business or whether it be a home, will see your property taxes for the city of Rochester go down this year. And while I'd love to pat myself on the back for that, the reality is it was the state legislature and an outstanding tax bill up at the state that has done some great things for the community. Where we have some sales tax exemptions that we're going to be able to save some money on as the city of Rochester. We're also going to we got an increase in the LGA, which is the very reason we were able to hold the property tax levy flat. And then with all the new properties that come online over the course of the year, that means that the actual property taxes per property go down. So that was very good. And then, you throw on top of that we're also getting all-day kindergarten here in the city of Rochester. So this was, kudos to the state legislature for, what amounted to be a great bill. And almost everyone, not everyone, but almost everyone in the city of Rochester, almost every business in the city of Rochester is going to see lower taxes this year as a result of what the state did. So that is absolutely outstanding news. In terms of what we're doing with the city of Rochester, Government continues to become more efficient right here. I'm in the process of doing my comparison to 2001. If you remember, in 2011, I did a 10-year look back, and then I've just continued to update that every year, and I'm still kind of filling in some of the numbers, and we'll see how it ends up. But bottom line is we're more efficient than ever, particularly in terms of staffing. We had staff requests for 31 new positions this year, and a lot of them are just desperately needed. But given where we held the line, there was only we only granted four new positions, and two of them are in IT, specifically aimed at improving software performance and improving the efficiency of the organization. And then there are a couple other small ones as well, which means there were 27 positions we did not honor. There's also the RABN folks want another position created, and just in terms of what we rejected, there ain't any chance that's going to happen. So unless they're willing to pay for it, and newsflash, they probably aren't going to be willing to pay for it either. And $100,000 a year of added fees is not something. They want a development administrator, and it just it's probably $100,000 a year position. We're not going to be able to offset it with fees. And the feedback that I get from people who have done major projects in my ward is that our process is competitive with everyone in the upper Midwest. So, if that's the feedback that I'm getting, it's a pretty tough sell if we were to do anything with the development process. I mean, I'd be looking at trying to figure out how to crack down on some of the consistently poor quality developers that we had operating in this community. And, I see that over in Rose Harbor, we've got another serious issue, and the homeowners over there will take it on the chin because of shoddy land development by one of our frequent flyers in terms of shoddy land development. So bottom line is not a whole lot of increased staffing. In terms of staffing per capita, it's just fallen off the cliff in the last 20 years. I think we're probably going to end up with about 650 employees, not counting RPU. And then on the RPU side, we're seeing a significant reduction in employees due to the closing of coal operations at the Silver Lake plant. So bottom line is it's a pretty tight budget. I would not, unless there's a significant infusion from the state, you probably are going to see some sort of very minimal property tax increases the 2015 year, or it could go the other way too. If the state cuts back, most of the property tax cuts of the last decade or so were a result of the policies of the Plenty administration. And, if we ever went back to those policies, you'd probably continue to see property taxes go up like they did during those years. So that's a little bit about the budget. If you got questions on any specific budget items or what we're doing or what our priorities are, I'm always happy to entertain those questions. But look for not a lot of change in terms of city services, a little bit more construction going on in 2014. Thanks for watching.